Did ancient humans smell bad? By modern standards, probably yes. But the real story is much more interesting than just saying people were dirty. Before showers, before toothpaste, before deodorant, soap, washing machines, or bathrooms, humans still had to survive. They still had to deal with sweat and smoke and insects and bad water and wounds and waste and clothing and hair and bedding and body odor. They had no modern hygiene products. But they did have water and fire and ash and sand and plants and grooming and distance and observation and social care. This is how ancient humans stayed clean enough to survive, and why clean has meant very different things across human history. Teeth were a problem. Ancient humans had no toothbrushes, no floss, no dentists. But they did have teeth, and they used them constantly. Chewing tough, fibrous plants and meat wore down enamel, but also scrubbed surfaces somewhat. Still, food got stuck, bacteria built up, infections happened. Abscesses were found in ancient skulls. Some populations used chewing sticks, twigs with frayed ends, used to scrub teeth and massage gums, or even sand. The Neanderthals at Bel Sidran Cave in Spain show evidence of using toothpicks, made of wood or bone. Tooth decay existed, but it was less common than today. Why? Less sugar. Far less. No refined carbohydrates. No soda. Ancient diets were tough on teeth mechanically, but sugar was rare. Honey was occasional. Fruit was seasonal. So ancient teeth were worn, sometimes infected, occasionally lost early. Now let's discuss body odor. Body odor is ancient. It is produced by bacteria breaking down sweat on skin. Ancient humans sweated. They had the same apocrine glands we have. They produced the same sweat, but they did not smell like a modern person who skipped a shower. They smelled different. Diet changes body odor profoundly. Ancient humans ate mostly plants, meat, fish, insects, and seasonal foods. No processed oils, no artificial fragrances. Their sweat carried the scent of their diet, their environment, and their particular bacteria. They also lived in smaller groups, in open air. A village of 30 people in a clearing smells different than a subway car of 200. They did not try to eliminate odor. They lived with it. They may have found certain smells informative, even attractive, as we still do subconsciously today. Musk, salt, smoke, these were not offensive. Ancient humans lived with smoke, constantly. Smoke from cooking fires, from torches. Smoke permeated hair, clothing, skin, and bedding. It was everywhere. This had an effect. Smoke is antimicrobial. It masks other scents. It may have reduced insect attraction, and it became the baseline smell of human life. If you walked into an ancient camp, you would smell smoke first. Not body odor, not waste. Smoke. Next up is clothes. Clothing creates a problem. It traps heat. It holds sweat. It becomes a habitat. Body lice tell us when clothing became common. Body lice evolved from head lice only after humans began wearing garments regularly. Genetic estimates suggest this happened at least 70,000 years ago, possibly earlier. Clothing meant humans could survive in cold climates, but it also meant they had to manage what lived in the cloth. Lice, fleas, mites. Ancient humans picked them off. They inspected each other's hair and garments. Grooming was social. The 3,700-year-old Lachish comb, found in Israel, carries an inscription. May this tusk root out the lice of the hair and the beard. They knew. They tried. They did not win, but they fought. Also, sleeping was not clean by modern standards, but it was managed. At Sibutu Cave in South Africa, archaeologists found plant bedding, dating back 77,000 years. Layers of sedges and other plants, arranged for comfort. Some of these plants were aromatic: Cryptocarya, woolly skeleton weed, plants that repel insects. At Border Cave, grass bedding sat atop layers of ash. Ash from fires. Why ash? Because ash discourages insects. It desiccates them. It creates an alkaline barrier. Ancient humans were not just throwing down grass. They were engineering their sleep environment. They changed bedding. They burned old plant layers. They added fresh ash. They selected plants with properties they had learned through observation and generations of trial. This was not hygiene as we know it, but it was not ignorance either. Hair grew. Nails grew. Skin shed. Humans had to manage their bodies. Ancient humans groomed. We know this from tools. Combs, made of bone, wood, ivory. Scraper tools that may have been used for hair or skin. Ochre and other pigments that may have been used on skin or hair for decoration, protection, or ritual. They cut hair probably with sharp stone flakes. They may have used resins or mud to style or treat it. They almost certainly removed foreign matter, leaves, burrs, insects. Grooming was not vanity. It was maintenance. Next up is the water. Water was the universal cleaner. Rivers, lakes, streams, rain. Ancient humans used water when they had it. They waded, they washed hands and faces, they probably rinsed wounds. Cold water is dangerous in cold climates. Water sources could be distant, and not all water is clean. Soap, as we know it, did not exist, but soap-like substances did. Certain plants contain saponins, natural compounds that lather and clean. The yucca plant, soapwort, quolaja. Ancient peoples in the Americas, in Europe, in Africa, used these plants. Clay was used. Some clays absorb oils and carry them away. Sand and ash acted as abrasives. Oil was used to clean oil, rubbing fat or certain plant oils on skin, then scraping it off, remove dirt and parasites. They had methods. They were not standing under a shower, but they were not walking around covered in filth by choice. Next up is toilet. Ancient humans did not have toilets. They went outside camps, usually downwind, away from water sources. Basic rules that animals also follow. In settled communities, this became harder. Density created problems. Some early settlements show evidence of designated waste areas, others do not. The smell of human waste was present. It was a fact. But in small mobile groups, it was dispersed. In large fixed settlements, it concentrated. This is why the history of smell is partly the history of population density. More people, less movement, more accumulation, more odor. Settlements. Settlements changed everything, not just for smell, for health. When humans began living in permanent or semi-permanent villages, waste accumulated. Food waste, human waste, animal waste. Water became contaminated. Insects multiplied. Rats arrived. This was the trade-off of civilization. More food security, more disease risk. Ancient humans managed this as they could. They burned waste. They buried it. They moved settlements periodically, but they did not have sanitation systems. Not yet. The smell of a Neolithic village would have been intense. Smoke, yes, but also rot, waste, and concentrated human presence. This was the beginning of a new olfactory world. So, did ancient humans smell bad? Yes and no. They did not smell like modern showered, deodorized, laundered humans. They smelled of smoke and sweat and diet and environment and the bacteria that lived on them. They carried the scent of their world, but they were not filthy by negligence. They managed their bodies, their bedding, their clothing, and their spaces with the tools they had. They were working with different materials, not different intelligence. They had different lives. We should not judge ancient hygiene by modern convenience. We should understand what they did, why they did it, and what they were working with. The next time you step out of a hot shower, brush your teeth with mint paste. and put on clean clothes washed in detergent. Remember, you are experiencing a moment that almost no human in history has experienced. Ancient humans survived without any of this. They managed, they adapted, they found ways to stay healthy enough to live, to love, to raise children, to build the world that eventually built us. They smelled different, but they were still human, still social, still trying to be comfortable in their own skin. And in the end, that is what hygiene has always been about, not perfection.
That's all for today. Thanks for watching till here.
If you like this video,
like, share, and subscribe. Bye.